What is going on, Omi homies and Omets? Welcome to the stream. In today's stream and podcast, we will be talking a lot about Amazon NFTs, how it ties in with the PV, and also Dr. Disrespect getting into the Web3 space. We've known this for a while. Of course, if you've been following the channel, you've been following the alpha, you are already in the know. But we'll talk about that as well, how that ties into the macro in Web3, and how we'll be tying literally all of this in together. Because I notice a lot of people on Twitter are living in kind of their own platform, like their own bubble, and they forget to zoom out a little bit in terms of the macro NFT market, including Web3 games. And I notice a lot of communities like Web3 gaming, they get in that bubble as well. And then of course, you have the NFT bros and gals, of course, getting stuck in their bubble. And then you have kind of people on platforms like Vivi and Recur, for example, stuck in that bubble. So we sometimes need to zoom out a little bit in the macro to really understand what's going on in the NFT world and what the future of Web3 literally is. And I want to help people in a entertaining way, because this is entertainment only and not financial advice. Do your own due diligence, your own research, and I'm not a financial advisor. So always do your thing out there, do your own research and all that good stuff. So again, we'll be doing some giveaways here on, I believe here on today's channel. If I can get this loaded up on the side here, we'll be giving away some quid packs as well. They'll be launching they've launched pretty much and teased that they're dropping some avatars that you can play with in the sandbox, which I find really cool. And Animoca Brands as well just dropped their NFTs just yesterday, which I find very cool. They're at like 1.6 or 7 ETH right now, which is pretty phenomenal. I minted a couple of those, full disclosure there. And yeah, Animoca is doing their thing in terms of the Web3 space as well. We'll touch on that later in the stream, but first things first is Amazon. So let's go ahead and pull this up as well. So in today's chart here, we're looking at Bitcoin. So I wanted to kind of point this out as well, like in terms of the crypto market. Now, bull run, when I say bull run, I don't mean like tomorrow soon. I don't mean a week soon. I mean like in months or half a year soon, right? Because a couple things need to play out. Amazon still has to launch their stuff. They still have to launch their market. Obviously, there's been like reports, for example, showing that Amazon NFTs will be tied to real world assets, which I find pretty interesting as well. But they still need to launch, right? It's time still needs to play out. So what we need to be doing is doing our due diligence here and researching a lot of, not only about their platform, how they plan to roll it out, how this ties in really to the macro of Web3 in general. Will this push the needle? Will it not? So we'll be talking a little bit about that today. But first up, we have the crypto market. So let's get into that real quick. We have Bitcoin at 22,300. Now, short term, this is not looking good for the crypto market, right? A few things happen. We had Silverbank, FUD. There's Catalyst. Now, this is a part of the process. And I heard Rand over at Crypto Banter kind of mention this on his channel this morning. This is a part of the cycle, right? Yo, what's up, SoCal? Let me in the chat. We got Ricky Tan in the house. Second from Wildfire Guild in the house. Let's go. Sup, Ricky? Few hours left behind till Beyond. Few hours left till Beyond. All right, yeah, let's go. Shout out to the Illuvium community. Shout out to Illuvium Beyond. We also have pack giveaways over on Twitter. You definitely want to check that out. So if you're not already following me here on Twitter, you definitely want to hop on over there. Take a look at this. We can scroll down just a little bit here. We have over 179 likes, 129 retweets, but there's over 10 discs that we're giving away on Twitter. So you want to pop on over to my Twitter and give a little bit of or this is how you enter in over there, and we'll do a random draw of people who completed the directions there on the Twitter. So definitely look out for that. That's a way you can get free, win some discs over on Illuvium. Now, what are discs? Discs are like blind boxes or, blind packs where you open up, you don't know what you're going to get, and you could get something rare. So that's the cool experience of this. The cool thing about this is their like Genesis IP and brand. Essentially, I mean, the alluvials aren't even out. You can't even capture alluvials. So technically, these come before alluvials. It's like their Genesis really type of PFP avatar collectible NFT here. So long term, some of these could be like this guy. This is, I want one of these, right? And the reason why is because maybe he becomes like a Charizard one day or something like that. Now, that's kind of speculation, of course. But yeah, the more rare it is, the more like points or power-ups or points you get. And you can compete on the leaderboard and all that kind of cool stuff. So it's gamified, and I find it pretty cool. But back into it. All right, back into it. Ethereum taking a hit, 1,500. Now, it's been definitely sideways the past 24 hours, or really this past week. Let's pull it back here in the chart. Now you can take a look at the mean. The mean is around 1644. Currently trading under about $100 below that. But of course, it's been about give or take, it's been in the 1700 range. But yeah, that's kind of what that looks like. So volatility. And now we're noticing some sideways movement here. So not too surprised, honestly. This is something I expected, and I've been kind of echoing over on Paul Barron's channel and his podcast and Substack rather, and in the articles and things like that. Just echoing that kind of sentiment with FUD, scrutiny, SEC, FUD, maximum pain in the market. This is something I'm not surprised to see. Again, this is crypto land, all right? This is NFTs. We're going to take a look at NFTs. NFTs over here are doing something a little bit different. We're noticing an uptick in volume. Now, this is a chart over on Dude Analytics showing all the different marketplaces. We have OpenSea, Blur, X2, Y2, LooksRare, CryptoPunks, Gem, AlphaSharks, Reservoir, Foundation, SudoSwap, Super Rare, Element, Uniswap, OKX, and Rarible. All right, all the marketplaces, the top ones, right? This is the trading volume from back 2 years. So you can see the volume, huge increase right here. You had, of course, peaked out, moved sideways, and then of course what happens typically when there's a lot of FUD, a crypto winter, and the natural cycle just kind of dies. It goes down, right? And now we're going back sideways, and then now you're noticing an increase in volume here in January, February. Not too big of a surprise. End of year always seems to be when things kind of like to pump a little bit, and you can see the big rise and increase on Blur for a number of reasons, right? There's more volume over there. There's incentives to be on that platform, and there was an airdrop. So some would argue that it was injected liquidity into the market and into Blur, but regardless, there's a lot of volume over there, and it's showing that these are like 2022 type levels, right? Even matching, let's see here, even January's months over here. So you can take the February and kind of correlate that data to previous, kind of volume back in 2022, early 2022. So kind of interesting to see. I wanted to point that out because as we're moving into the summer, we know that I think it was last year, as a matter of fact, we had Solana summer. So Solana summer everything was kind of dumping a little bit, but Solana on the flip side was actually one of the one of the NFT communities and NFT ecosystems that was actually pumping. So maybe we see something like that this year. I don't know. Now I don't have a crystal ball. Can't necessarily tell you that. When I say bull run, again, this could take a while to play out. It is something I'm monitoring the situation about because Amazon, again, they are coming into the space. They could have something massive. They could do something big and disrupt the space as a whole. Now, will it compete with Vivi? I don't know. We know that eBay has integrated platforms like OneOf. That's what the platform's called, OneOf. We'll get to that in just a second. And really, actually, I'll just show you. The platform OneOf. This is a NFT platform similar to Vivi to some regard. It has brands, it has celebrities, it has musicians, and it has like those types of NFTs as well. So you can see here the Golden Pass. You have all these different cool NFTs. They're actually integrated with eBay. So again, maybe we see something like this on Amazon, given that Amazon marketplace. If you actually look, you have brands that have their own collections or marketplaces, if you will, embedded within Amazon. And that's kind of how it works. You have trusted kind of brands and retailers on Amazon selling like an individual business or store on Amazon itself. So Amazon's very good at building marketplaces, and they're very good at having branded experiences. So I could definitely see them do something like that, do something like eBay. I don't think it's out of the question, in my opinion. Now, some people would disagree. We could have a couple of other OGs kind of step in, give their perspective on the topic, but maybe they just do something themselves. Again, it's a lot right now. It's a lot to soak in terms of creating a marketplace and creating branded experiences and creating like that curated type of experience as well, especially in Web3. A lot of people have tried to do their own marketplaces. A lot of people have failed. So again, Amazon has in the past, they have failed quite a bit in the past. You can actually just Google Amazon failure or Amazon failures, and it is a long list of failures in the billions of dollar range. So you have I guess some game they tried to launch back in 2020 failed. Haven failed. Amazon Spark failed. Restaurants failed. Storywriter failed. Pop-up stores failed. Dash buttons, remember those? Those little things you would push a button and it was supposed to be more convenient. That failed. Amazon Tap failed. You had Instant Pickup fail. You had Amazon Tickets fail. Whole Foods failed. 365, not Whole Foods, but the 365 deal apparently. Amazon Fresh's local market seller. They're supposed to be like rolling out all these trucks with fresh food delivered locally and all this other stuff. I guess that failed. And the list goes on. Like you have Endless.com, Quidsy, MyHabit, Amazon Web Store, Amazon Destination. I mean, the list is literally long. All right. So in a nutshell, this could like fail and not succeed, right? So you always want to be kind of hedging your bets a little bit. Now on the flip side, this could cause more volume in the NFT space as a whole. Now, as you're tracking these marketplaces, you would have to add a Amazon in this data, in my opinion, and not these third party kind of wild west type of marketplaces like Blur, OpenSea. And Amazon is obviously a trusted name at this point. Brands would probably want to be on Amazon, right? All right, let's relate that to Vivi. I know I talked a lot. Let's relate that back to Vivi. Okay. And how's everything going in? Stream good, volume good. Want to make sure we're all good here on the stream. Smells fun. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing well. Stream's current bitrate is higher than the bitrate. Let me turn that down a little bit so we're not coming in too hot. All right, so I redid the bit right there, so we should be coming in clean. So how that ties in with Vivi, I don't know. We don't know. It's too early to say and too early to like make those predictions. And, we do know like from the past, Amazon has bought platforms like Twitch, for example, who Twitch was really thriving a long time ago. When it was founded, it was Justin.com or whatever, Justin TV. And then, of course, Amazon bought it. It became, everybody knew Twitch, right? It was very popular. Fortnite popped off on it. There's a lot of big streamers that made careers out of it. Been highly successful. And then over the past several years, supposedly, Amazon executives have tried to squeeze as much monetization out of Twitch itself, thus squeezing the creators, because that's the basis of what Twitch is. It's basically creator content, right? And it's creators making that content, just like what we're doing right here on YouTube, except you kind of have the top, from the top to the bottom, you have Amazon really squeezing that model as much as they could, especially competing with a platform like YouTube, for example. So and that kind of led to a lot of these creators kind of jumping off the platform. You notice big streamers, even like Ninja, for example, having to multi-stream. Dr. Disrespect moving to YouTube, which it was a whole debatable thing in itself, because Dr. Disrespect was one of the biggest streamers and literally the face of Twitch there for a long time. And he had a big deal with Twitch, and they basically cut his contract out from underneath him and moved to Twitch. And then even this past year, there's been a lot of content creators making a lot of videos, about this situation and how a lot of these content creators had to move to YouTube because the monetary split was just better on YouTube, and the discoverability on YouTube was just better as well. And of course, now we have the CEO of Amazon or YouTube actually really bullish on Web3. So we'll take a look at that as well. Let's see if I can pull this up real quick on Harrison Heller. Now he's a good YouTuber that does really big. He's a huge YouTuber. We're gonna pull him up and see if we can find him. But he's talked a lot about this situation. So we're gonna pull this up. Senpai Gaming. He's over almost 660,000 subscribers here. So let's see if I can find it. So anyways, he talks about these topics quite a bit, and how Twitch's policies have been like deceptive or sneaky at least, and how people have been moving to YouTube. So that's kind of what that's about. In a nutshell. So we won't get too far into the rabbit hole there, but that's just one thing to consider about Amazon in terms of their platforms and kind of weighing the different, successes with their failures, right? So this isn't like a bulletproof, bull run type scenario either. So it's going to be interesting to see how they roll this out. I think it's going to be primarily like infrastructure based and around their current business model. So this article mentioned here that Amazon NFTs will be tied to real world assets, token possible. I don't think we see a token for quite some long time, especially with the SEC breathing down everybody's neck. That's just my opinion, though. Amazon Marketplace will tie digital ownership to physical goods delivered to customers' doors. And it does go on to say that this will be basically that they will be sending out like an email to all the Amazon Prime customers. Currently, there's 167 million Prime customers in the USA. The backend blockchain tech is not clear, so that nobody knows if it's going to be a hard fork of some blockchain or if they're going to create their own. Or I mean, I guess that's the same thing. Or go with a well-established blockchain. I would imagine they would hard fork their own and do something themselves. And this said it's a very walled garden, but I don't know if they actually take that approach. I think they make it easy for people, but I think they give the ability to people to self-custody and take off app, because I just think, again, with these court cases, the trajectory of the SEC, I just think that these platforms aren't going to be like, locking people's assets up like that forever. So I think that's what's going to happen there. Again, when you have a platform like Amazon, and let's say they do get into Web3 gaming is going to, we're going to talk about that in just a minute too. So come on, you want to strap in, you want to stay to the end, because we're going to hit on some pretty heavy topics here at today's stream. But yeah, look, like with Amazon, if they're getting into, it doesn't matter if they're getting into Web3 games or NFTs or doing just Prime. It doesn't matter. They're going to need some type of infrastructure. They're going to need a back end. They're going to need to have a marketplace. If people, again, Amazon is a marketplace already, and they do it quite well. So again, I think they have to have a marketplace. I just don't think it functions without a marketplace. I don't think they're just going to airdrop a bunch of NFTs or, attach NFTs to all these products and then just not have anything to do with these NFTs and just sit in a wallet. I just don't see that. I mean, I think it's possible that could happen, but I just don't think that's the trajectory Amazon will take. I think they'll go with, at a minimum, a marketplace and then expand out from there. Obviously, this article mentioned that they'll be, hitting their Amazon Prime customers. I imagine maybe even Twitch if they move into the Web3 gaming sector. Amazon's no stranger to games. They have 3 games. Blue Origin, which is about to come out this summer, and Amazon, and in terms of AWS, is going to be at the Gaming Developers Conference at the end of this month, where maybe we see some announcements there around either their game or maybe something even Web3. So I'm excited to see if they have something set up for that in the not so distant future, because as you guys know, I'm very excited about the future of Web3 gaming. I think that's going to cause the next bull run, in my opinion. And we're going to talk about that. That's why we put Dr. Disrespect front and center, because he's launching his own game, not with Amazon. I know that was kind of confusing, but I wanted to showcase he's launching kind of around the same time, right? And as a matter of fact, you can actually play his game already. And he actually already has a 1 click sign on into his website called Dead Drop. Now, this is their first game, Dead Drop, but the studio is called Midnight Society. And literally, they've already done one-click sign-on. You sign on. You pretty much, I mean, you already have custody of your wallet. You can integrate your MetaMask. There's a lot of cool things that Dr. Disrespect and his studio have already done that platforms like Immutable X are trying to integrate. So I find the execution of Midnight Society one of the top-tier execution models in terms of what I look at in terms of acquiring mainstream gamers and users into this game, right? And this is just their first game. It's a vertical extraction shooter, and the NFT pass or Founders Pass gets you access to play the alpha of these different, releases of the alpha of the game, and then you can attend live events, as you can see here, live event. I find this very, very exciting because, once again, Dr. Disrespect, he's literally was the face of Twitch. Twitch hired him to do this like huge commercial. And even today, I mean, when he streams, he pulls in thousands and thousands of people live every single day, when he goes live on YouTube. So again, he's one of the most well-known, most well-respected, and highly regarded streamers, esports players, and he's made maps in some of these games like Call of Duty. The guy's no slouch, that's for sure. So, and now he's launching his own studio. Look at this, 4.28 million. And pretty much everybody, like if you ask any gamer, it doesn't matter what game, have you heard of Dr. Disrespect? They're going to say yes, because most people have heard of him. And he streams consistently with the other top streamers like Tim the Tatman, and of course Z-Laner, who's one of the top Call of Duty players, and many, many others. So anyways, highly regarded as, one of the best streamers. He's won awards for being the best streamer. So anyways, very well done in terms of how they've rolled out Midnight Society. Another favorite for me is going to be Phantom Galaxies, how they did it as well. Now, both of these games are based on Polygon. So two of my favorite types of airdrops and making it easy for gamers is going to have to be Phantom Galaxy and Dead Drop, and both are Polygon based. So I know Immutable X is working on the Passport, and I'm very excited for that, especially making it easier for gamers to sign in and just play the game, right? So maybe we see something here. Maybe that Amazon ties in Web3 gaming and integrate some of these like more curated games like Midnight Society in terms of their games that they're bringing to the Web3 space, because it's more of a trusted experience in terms of how it's viewed in the NFT community and the gaming community. Again, I don't think Amazon just launches a bunch of random NFTs. I think they make it somewhat curated with some of these brands. I do think they'll just do high runs, and I don't think that will necessarily equate to being a direct competitor with VV. I just don't see that happening because maybe long run they do the same thing as VV, but I just don't see that short term. And the reason why is because VV is focused primarily on digital collectibles and like augmented reality and kind of the lower run NFTs. Even though in the VV community we consider them like higher runs, they're really not if you like zoom out in the macro NFT space and realize like there's 10, 20,000 edition NFT collections out there. And the way that VV is doing it, again, they're targeting that collectible market. And I think Amazon isn't going to go that route specifically in the beginning. Now, they could, I think, long run and do something like that. They haven't been very well known. I mean, they've gotten into the comic book apps. Ironically, one of their comic book platforms that they bought, I think it was Comixology. I think they like shuttered and they went out of business. So there is a need for them to have some type of NFT collectibles in their ecosystem, and maybe one day they could buy VV. I just don't think that they would do that short term. And a lot of people that I've talked to and OGs in the space have kind of mentioned that it'd be a headache because all the license and IP and all the brands would have to re-sign on all of that. And I could definitely agree with that. Although I think they have the resources for that. So I honestly don't think that's the big problem. I think the big problem is the liability, and Vivi kind of has assumed all of the liability currently for all these big brands, and obviously they're based in like Singapore technically, with the parent company of Orbis being in Singapore. So I don't know. I don't know if Amazon would actually buy Vivi for a while until regulation kind of like works itself out. But I could be wrong. Again, that's why I think Amazon's going to go with more of a like, around their clothes and a lot the clothing brands, fashion, things like that at first. And then maybe we see some other stuff, cool stuff from Amazon, like interesting things around games as well. Again, I think games are going to lead the way here in terms of the Web3 space, including the NFT space as a whole. And, when you look at some of these games, like for instance, Midnight Society, the founders passes are only, there's only 10,000 of those. Now I think long run, some of this stuff's going to be important. Some of the first Web3 games, I think they're going to be collectibles long term. And I already consider some of them collectibles. And a lot of people kind of like, I don't know, they consider some NFTs like not collectibles, but I think they all kind of are to a degree. I think they're all kind of collectible to a degree, to be honest. Whether they're in-game assets or whatever, I still think that to them as like akin to as a collectible, because what's maybe just a skin or cosmetic to you could be a collectible to a younger gamer, for instance, that wants to keep that. And I've seen that in Fortnite. People have that John Wick skin, or they have the whatever skin, and they just have that, right? And it feels like a collectible, and it's kind of a flex. So I think similar here plays out in terms of the adoption of all these Web3 games. I think we'll see Web3 games really... I got to turn this music down because it's like bugging me. Hang on just a second there. I'll leave it up for you guys, but I got to turn it down to my headset. Chago, what's going on? Let me I'll get to the comments in just a second. All good on stream. Good to hear. SoCal homie. 11 watching, 1 like, smash. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, smash a like if you're enjoying the stream. Really do appreciate the support. Helps us break through the algos. Some are even going to kick. VV drop sold out. L for me. Darn bots. Yeah, I didn't even go for the drop, so totally biffed it on that one. But yeah, how I see it playing out is, let's see here. Let's just pull up Immutable X. Obviously, VV is on Immutable X. All right. And one of the cases I was making a long time ago, before, I started seeing a lot of tweets yesterday about Web3 games, finally, in the VV community. Something I've been trying to talk about for a very long time. As you guys know, I've worked for Illuvium and Myria, which are, obviously Web3 studios and things like that. I think the interesting thing for me about VV being on a platform like Immutable X is that they're directly like, they're within proxy or proximity to a lot of these other Web3 games. Like you have Guardians, Congregate, Gods Unchained, Illuvium, Ember Sword, Cross the Ages, and many, many more that are still coming and being developed. Like you're talking about like one of the, I think it was like the CEO or one of the like primary guys at Riot Games, like one of the existing founders. He's building a game on Immutable X. I mean, there's a lot coming to Immutable X, and I looked into GameStop's, revenue, and one of their big revenue drivers is actually physical collectibles. It's $1 billion revenue driver for them. And so I look at that as it's interesting, right? Because GameStop's on Immutable X as well, or has the tech stack with Immutable X, and immutable NFTs could be listed on GameStop and vice versa and things like that. So I find that very interesting because, this could have a massive positive impact on VV. And I've said it a long time ago, but I always have to keep re-saying it because people forget. The news cycle kind of dies, and, we have to I have to retell everybody this again. But I think that Web3 games could have a direct impact on VV because what I just said, like GameStop has a massive revenue from just physical collectibles at their shops in store. And we know that the trajectory of NFTs in Web3 is, or the trajectory of the metaverse, the trajectory of games is all tying into Web3. Like, people at a base level want to have ownership of their digital assets, period, bar none. All right, that's just going to happen. And the more and more gamers figure that out, the more and more they're going to start jumping into these games. Now, obviously, it's going to take time, some education, and some of these scams to just go away. And these, good studios like what Dr. Disrespect is building to really take off. And I think that's obviously just taking time. But for me, nothing has changed here. Nothing has changed in my approach. I still think that, at a base minimum in the metaverse and in games, people are just going to want to own things. And when you look at the metaverse, you have to be asking yourself, like, what makes it attractive? What makes it make sense? Why would somebody want to be in the metaverse? Well, they're going to want to own their stuff, right? Like, if you're going to be in the metaverse, you're going to want to own stuff. And the only technology that allows you to actually own your goods and your assets and items in the metaverse and in games is going to be NFT technology. And I don't know if we call NFTs. I think they're just going to be called digital assets or whatever, or in-game assets or in-game items or goods or whatever. I think it's just going to normalize over time. And people are just going to, like, obviously be like, oh yeah, those are powered by NFTs, but we don't really call them that. I think it's just that underlying technology that powers this metaverse and these games. And we're going to tie this into the metaverse. All right. Games and metaverse go hand in hand. And as a matter of fact, Animoca is one of the leading proponents of this model because, again, they just launched their Mochaverse and they have significant investments into Web3 games specifically. It says driving digital property rights via NFTs and gaming to build the open metaverse. And we've seen Japan, China, South Korea. They're all talking about open metaverse. All right. There's like this ginormous list of actually Web2 companies that are on board with open metaverse, quote unquote. But this is the Web3 standard. Animoca Brands and what they're doing and how they're being one of the biggest and largest proponents of the open metaverse and digital property rights. I think that's massive. Again, look at this. They're showcasing all the games. So again, there is a connection there. And we've seen Quid with their digital collectibles integrate the sandbox, which is a metaverse. So collectibles tying into the metaverse as well. Everything ties in. So pay attention to what's happening in the macro. Take a second to step out of your Web3, your NFT bubble, and see what's going on in the macro here. Do you understand where you follow where I'm going? So this is what's happening, all right? And I think it's important to pay attention to this because, when you are just in VV and you're kind of in this bubble, you don't really necessarily realize that, right? You don't realize that these Web3 games, if they pop off, it could benefit VV in a positive way because it's in proximity on the same platform. You have the open order book of Immutable X. Immutable X has an open order book system. So again, if somebody lists an NFT on Immutable X on the layer 2, it shoots out a buy order on all the different marketplaces and gets listed, or a listing rather, not a buy order, but a listing on all these marketplaces, GameStop, Token Trove, and all these other future marketplaces that may utilize Immutable X technology, including OpenSea. So that's what the open order book looks like. So you have maximum liquidity. So again, this could be beneficial because if you are using a platform like Immutable X, people are using Immutable X, people love Immutable X, these games are popping off. You have gamers that have championed NFTs at this point. And behind you have my Batman physical right here. So what the natural thing is, you're going to have showrooms. We already seen that with Vivi. We've seen it with Spatial. We've seen it with On Cyber. We've seen it with tons of other platforms. Artifact with Nike. Nike's doing this. We've seen Facebook with Horizons. They have their own penthouses and houses and things you can build. But guess what? All these assets are going to be at some level, hopefully interoperable, like what we've seen with some of Vivi stuff in what they're building in the Viviverse. We've seen this with Spatial, with some of even the Quid stuff with the Weta Workshops NFTs. So again, we're talking about metaverse interoperability, which I noticed nobody talking about. I brought it up a month or two ago because I find it very interesting that nobody was talking about this before. The only person that's brought it up other than me is Hello K. And, and he's the one that has mentioned that as well. But aside from that, nobody else is talking about metaverse interoperability. And we were some of the first, and I know I was one of the first ones, if not the first person, to say that that's impressive, and that, we should be tracking these interoperability between metaverses, especially Web3 metaverses. And we know Ready Player Me is one of those, in my opinion, blue chip type of platforms that does exactly this. They're interoperable among a lot of these different metaverses. And you can see here, we're going to zoom in on this. You have VR chat, anime, side quest, spatial, Somnium space, 7,500 more right there. And that's an NFT head, by the way. That's a dead mouse head right there. You can even see NFT right on their platform. And then you have all these fashion items and things like that. And that's base level. This is base level stuff right here. People are going to want to have avatars, and they're going to want to customize them. And they're going to want to own their actual clothes on their avatars. And some of these clothes that are on your avatar, like with what Amazon might do, is they could integrate a digital and a physical pairing together. So not only does your avatar have this clothes, but so do you. You get a shipment to your door via Amazon Prime. That's what makes sense to me here. It doesn't make sense that they go after technically just yet the digital collectible market, because this in my opinion, this is a bigger market, is the avatar space, the avatars and the customization. Now Vivi could do something kind of niche, is do like a partnership with Givenchy or a luxury brand, and do their own digital lineups and things like that. And kind of like a hype beast type drop system, where they can still be super successful doing those well curated, lower edition runs, more exclusive, versus what Amazon is doing the higher runs, still kind of cool, still luxury, still doing stuff, but on a higher, much larger scale. And again, this goes back to this article here of Amazon NFTs will be tied to real world assets. This is the direction I think that they could go in, honestly, is pairing your physical clothes with your digital clothes with your avatars. And a platform like Ready Player Me has been featured at CES, which is one of the major showcases of consumer electronic platforms. And NVIDIA featured Ready Player Me. BMW has this integrated with their new smart car that is like an AI, basically. And again, I see this as a base level right here. We're seeing the base of the metaverse being built here with a platform like Ready Player Me, because you're going to need an avatar to go into all these places and spaces, right? And then you're going to have outside of that, you're going to have your land and your home that you live in, right? And then once you have your home, you're going to need to decorate it. You're going to need a couch. You're going to need you're going to need all these things. And you're going to have these flex pieces like Batman, the Todd Batman, the first Batman on the blockchain. All right. That's where it all ties in. Right. In spatial, you can actually, or Ready Player Me, you can actually use some of these avatars, I believe, in games. And some of these metaverses like VR chat and spatial, I believe, have like mini games that you can do as well. So, and Facebook, I would imagine, is going to integrate Ready Player Me. I mean, in my opinion, I think they will. I hope they do. Let's go here for apps. You see all the different integrations. Let me take a drink of water. Yeah, Gala Games, of course. We're going to bring that up too. Look at these integrations. TLC or TCL, Live, Meetin VR, Artifact, Pool Bear, SideQuest, Somnia, Spatial, Dune, Bona, blah, blah, blah. List goes on. VR chat, the big one, the Nemesis, another metaverse. So literally all these integrations, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with this, right? This is where I'm going with that. And how Amazon ties into that, that's what I think is going to happen, is we'll see a lot of these like more phygital stuff. I think that's smart. I think that they should do that. I think they should integrate more than one blockchain. If they use their own, I think they should maybe integrate other ones like Polygon. And if they do in gaming, Immutable X or both. They mentioned Immutable X and Polygon in their FAQ article, in their NFT FAQ article. So I think they could do both or integrate multiple. We know that they have already messed around with Avalanche and helped developers spin up subnets or, whatever on AVAX. So we know that they've already dabbled there. But again, this is metaverse property rights is big. I mean, it's more than just a movement. It's like already a thing in the Web3 space currently with platforms like Animoca Brands. And let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, I don't know if I'll find it right now, but there's actually like metaverse Web3 metaverse platforms that are working together towards interoperability, and obviously Animoca is one of them, and you have other like metaverses like Virtua is actually on there. Hopefully we'll see Vivi on there one day. I really do hope. I really want them to go this route of open metaverse and interoperability, especially after they launch the Viviverse. But again, like, a lot of people, I remember when I brought this up a long time ago, a lot of people like made fun of me, said I was stupid. But look here, this is the fast forward till now. This has happened, right? You have brands like, or platforms like Quid doing exactly what I was saying Vivi should have done in terms of the sandbox. I think what Quid did there in that specific case is great. I think that's awesome. But obviously Vivi has their own, they have the Viviverse. So not to say like totally like say it's an L, or say that, somebody's doing it better, because we don't know what the Viviverse looks like. I'm still excited for the Viviverse and what it could bring and how they roll it out, the integrations. And we know that it's using Cavernous, which Cavernous I talked a lot about before, is that they do have the ability to have this interoperability on the top level, not MetaMask level, switching NFTs around and porting NFTs to different wallets, but I mean porting assets to one experience to another in Unreal Engine or Unity, right? That's what I'm talking about. And Cavernous can do that, and it actually does it so well that it adopts pretty much, those assets adopt the physics of that world or experience that game is using. So if you have a game that has like a Halo physics where you can kind of jump and your guy just kind of like keeps jumping like he's an alien or something, or you might have a game with or like a metaverse with a different type of physics where there's like no gravity at all and you're just like floating through space. That's the physics. When I talk about physics, that's what I mean. And these assets can adopt those physics to each different experience and each different game, if that makes sense. And Cavernous does that. They've demonstrated that, and I've talked a lot about it here on the channel. So I do find that interesting. I've talked a lot about that interoperability in between metaverses, experiences, and using those assets to go to one place to another. And I've asked specifically, I think at Quid, McFarland, and of course we know Vivi, about their interoperability, like porting assets to one experience to another. We know Vivi, it's pretty much possible with Cavernous to a degree. Quid has the Weta Workshop NFTs that you can do in Spatial, and it's like full 3D. Those are pretty cool. And then McFarland, I don't think they have it yet, but obviously they haven't done too much just in the short term. I think they've all they've done really is spawn into the dragons, right? Like and a couple other things. So they're still doing stuff. Virtua, we know Virtua is probably going to go that trajectory. I don't think they have anything currently that they can port their assets into just yet. Where like if you take one of their VFlex or one of the like, King Kong NFTs and then, put that into Spatial and it look 3D. I think it's just 2D still. If you can even do that in the first place. So anyways, I've been going around and asking all these platforms what they're doing. So putting in that legwork for you guys in the audience and in the crowd to see the next evolution of Web3 metaverse and metaverse in general. So I know I went on some kind of like rant, but this is kind of like I just had to get it off all my chest, kind of do an info dump on you guys about everything going on and how this ties in with gaming, Web3, and even Vivi, and what I think is going to like happen. So this is totally my opinion, and entertainment only. So let me get to the comments finally. So that I know that was kind of a long one. I had some long wind there. For a second, let's go. Let me catch up here. Vivi drop sold down. Hopefully their NFT marketplace is better organized than the games marketplace in general. Totally agree. What up, Kyle? Says Chago. Mm. That's a good point. Gala Games is another one. Gala Games is one of the best platforms out there. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, Gala Games is one of the best platforms that's doing exactly this. They're going after the entire entertainment industry. So they're going after Web3 games. They're going after movies and music. I find this very interesting. And I find it very exciting. Actually, I really do love the Gala Games ecosystem. Their games, I like Superior. I think the Superior is the best one on there. In my opinion, I love Superior. If I had more time, I would definitely beat it and play it, but that's just my opinion. I think they just recently bought a mobile gaming studio. They're going after the mobile games market, which is, I think, the best market to go after, especially if you're a Web3 game and studio and company. I pointed out Web3 mobile games like way early on and saying that like it was 70% of the entire like game industry in terms of like revenue generated. And then finally people started talking about it. And I was like, yeah, I said that like a year ago. But anyways, I digress. You know, I say things way too early, never get any credit because I'm like way too early on everything. Way too early. We're way too early on the channel half the time. But anyways, we already knew this anyways. If you're in the gaming community or you've been in gaming, you already know anyway. So I wasn't necessarily early to know that. But now you know. If you didn't know, now you know. So that's a bonus there. So I find what Gala's doing very exciting, very cool. They have cool brands. I'm not big into Miranda's though. It looks a little weird to me, the actual game. Spider Tanks is pretty fun. I'm always down to roll, or I'm always down to play Spider Tanks. I think it's fun. I know they have a chicken, but that's actually like a chicken tank. So if you guys want to play Gala Games and Spider Tanks, let me know. I'd love to do that for fun. It's very fun. I like the game. I'm not very big on the Walking Dead game. It's not my style. I used to play that way back in the day when I had like Sega, and it was like what was it? There's another one, Zombieland, I think it was like the original Zombieland. It was a game first before a movie, I believe. They had a game, I believe it was on Sega. Anyways, I used to love that game, but I just kind of got tired of that type of game. And then you have an anime. This is one of the anime films. Lots of cool stuff out of Gala, man. Incredible job. I mean, Bitbender, the founder, really cool guy. I actually really love his personality. I think he's great. And what they're doing, they're gonna have their own blockchain. They're gonna have possibly a peer-to-peer market. Then you have like two celebrities that are basically launching like their own documentaries or some type of documentary or something like that. So yeah, I find what they're doing interesting. Let's see here. No music on stream. Yeah, I actually turned it down because it was like blowing out my eardrums and I couldn't focus on what I was talking about. I'll turn it up a little bit there. Let's see, Vivi can go as far as Cavernous lets it. Yeah, I agree. And to add to that, I find what NVIDIA Omniverse is doing is really interesting as well. And I think Vivi could utilize the Omniverse eventually. So the Omniverse, again, they were showcasing these avatars, and they showcased Ready Player Me as well in a lot of their videos. And you have Earth 2 here. This isn't the same Earth 2. This is just their Earth 2. You have AI computing, accelerated computing, which pretty much are very similar. Accelerated graphics is to a degree. I mean, it is AI. It's basically like predictive modeling on a much smaller scale or a graphic scale. I guess to oversimplify it. I mean, there's a lot more happening than that, but you get the picture. Amazing, Kyle. Thanks for this, says the B. Hey, you're welcome. Oh, I guess we should give away. Let's do some giveaways. I want to give away a quid pack. We'll do that. We'll give away a quid pack. Let's do that real quick. I believe this is going to be tied into their sandbox deal. Don't quote me on that. We're just going to give away a pack. We'll just say it's a pack because we'll just say we don't know what it is. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that real quick here. Again, what they'll be doing, if you guys haven't played the sandbox, super fun. I've been messing around with it. I've actually bought a couple of avatars and I found it really fun. I bought I think they were like the branded ones too. So it was the WB, they partnered with Warner Brother Music UK, and they partnered with Bose. Excuse me. And they have like, I think holders get like this custom Bose like stuff in like, fashion items, and it's like custom with artists that actually like painted, like it's like handcrafted stuff. And so I bought a couple of those specifically for the sandbox because they were really cheap, and I was like, well, heck yeah. And there's only like 5,000 of them, so I'm like, oh, these are pretty rare actually. And long term, like WB has a huge space. It's like smack dab in the middle of sandbox. So I was like, yeah, this is a no-brainer for long term in my opinion. All right, let's do some giveaways. Now you will have to interact in chat by just doing a simple like exclamation mark to enter. But let me get it queued up here real quick. I should have did this before stream, but here we are. Okay, here we go. Quid giveaway. We'll put 5 minutes on the timer, and we will see if that works. So let's give that a try, see if that works. All you got to do, exclamation raffle, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Exclamation raffle to enter. You don't have to say nothing less, nothing more, just exclamation raffle, and it'll enter you in. We'll bring up the quid stuff, okay? I think the quid stuff is actually really cool. Hope you guys are doing great today. Let me know in the comments as well where you're tuning in from, as in the world. I know we have like a lot of viewers from around the world. Okay, yeah, so let's pull this up here on screen. All right, so we have this kind of teaser video. So let's show this first. We're gonna mute it because it's like so loud. It's kind of cool though. All right, so we're getting some kind of sneak peeks. I believe this is like Quid IP, so they can do whatever they want with this as well. But it's like space themed, and like that lady has like an alien looking eye, and that guy looks like he's got an alien eye. So it's gonna be like space thing. You got the Q for Quid on there, the first ever something with utility or something like that. That dude looks pretty cool. You can see it's in the sandbox. But let's see if they have this old video here on their channel. This was what I found pretty interesting here. So yeah, this item right here, it looks like a sticker, and it like turns into an avatar. And even on their platform, like it looks like a sticker, but you can preview what it's gonna look like in the sandbox. So it's like that kind of integration here, so you can see. And they have multiple games too, like, so you can see here. This is what I find really cool. Life Beyond, Meta World, King Collector. So different platforms, so they have different integrations. This is what true kind of interoperability looks like. So now it's deep. It's like much harder or much more difficult to do this because you have to like communicate with all the different partners. But that's why I find the Animoca like ecosystem really exciting, because they have invested in the companies that like talk to each other and work together, obviously, to achieve this type of interoperability. So you can see the sandbox, Life Beyond. He just clicks apply, and you can see the listings here. And then he clicks on game preview, and then you can see what it's going to look like. So, and then of course your avatar, you can just pick it on the home screen there. Transfer collectible metadata, blah, blah, blah. You can see it looks super basic. don't know what to really expect here in terms of like, you know, games or whatever they're going to do in there. So I'm very curious what they'll do in terms of that. But that's what it's going to be around the pack, hopefully. So I believe we're going to be getting some packs to give away here on the channel. We're going to give one away right now, regardless. So let's do that. Working and listening on the East Coast. Great stuff. Hey, East Coast, welcome. Tune in. The B has entered. We have JStorm. We have Smells Fun, SoCal, Richard. Let's go. Tuning in for the chair. Yeah, I do know that. Yeah, the chair of truth and justice here. Let me see how much time is left here. We got 1 minute left on the timer. We got a total of 5 tickets, 5 entries. All right. And so be sure to enter. And we have over 20 people live here on stream. So if you want a shot at winning one of those cool avatars or at least a pack on Quid, you can do so now. And then of course, don't forget about the disc giveaway. We're going to be doing some live openings over on, or here on my channel. Possibly, I think Hello K might be on opening some packs with me around these discs. So these are going to be blind box based discs on Illuvium. Again, this is, in my opinion, kind of like the Pokemon of Web3. Now, of course, Pokemon could be on Web3 eventually, but Illuvium, the game is just, it looks phenomenal, right? In long run, this could have been one of those no-brainer situations where you could have collected these cool Illuvatars given you had the chance. The first 5K people that mint these, I believe, what was it? SoCal Omi Homie, the first 5K that mint these, I forget what it was. They get something. Gosh, what was it? Like a special emote. So like you have an emote in game or something like that. So I think it's like the first 5K people that do the basic discs, and like the first 3K that do the large big discs get like the emotes. I could be wrong. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was, you get a perk. And I think if you complete the set, the album, you get like, you also, there's like other ways you can do cool in-game stuff. But we'll see. I don't know if they've announced like everything yet. So I'm very curious to see what they'll do. So how does the ticket work? It'll automatically draw your name. So timers ran out. I'm gonna click pick winner, and it is Smells Fun. Congratulations on that. Smells Fun. Just message me over on YouTube or YouTube. I wish we had some sort of system on YouTube. Just message me over on Twitter. So yeah, just find me over here on Twitter and we'll get you hooked up there. So Andrew put out a really good video earlier today. Yeah. Let's take a look at that. All right, let's take a look while we're talking about Web3 gaming. Illuvium is interesting. You know, it really is. And they got a launch party coming up here pretty soon, which I may make an appearance over there. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, I'll tweet if I do join them. I'll definitely tweet out about that, but we'll see. This is the Illuvium Beyond. What is Illuvium Beyond? These are the Illuvatars I was talking about.
Illuvium Beyond is a collectible card.
Illuvium Beyond. I love Andrew, man. Illuvium Beyond.
Card game that combines stunning visuals and competitive fun. Illuvatars are creative.
Illuvatars are creative.
Hand-drawn versions of our Illuvium.
So you can see here, hand-drawn. Roger Vanderbeek, or Roger is the one who did this. Their head graphic artist. I don't even know if I said his name right. Rarity determines power rating. All that good stuff. You can see the different like styles. You got the discs here. You got a mega disc that has, it ensures like you have like a rare alluvial. So that's pretty much what the mega disc is. I think it's a little bit more expensive than the standard disc, but you are guaranteed like a rare alluvial.
Load your disc immediately. Save it, trade it, or sell it.
So it works again like blind box, so you could keep it sealed and then just sell it later on, or you could open it. So think of like HRO and their packs, like how that system works.
Avatars are sold in waves, with ultra rare, highly sought after alphas kicking off each wave in a time-limited sale.
Yeah, so they're gonna have like, you know, these tranches or waves. So they'll release like a certain amount, and then they'll release more, and it's all going to be time based as well. So and then they'll just cut off the sale at a certain time, and that'll be the Genesis. That'll be it. And you won't be able to grab the Genesis unless you buy it off the secondary, which again, the rarity and the collectability factor kind of works its way in terms of collectibles.
Permanently bond accessories to your Illuvitar to boost its power rating.
Yeah, so this is the interesting part. You can add accessories to your Illuvitars, which are pretty cool. Glasses, rings, like, you know, a tobacco pipe here, you know, all that cool stuff.
Slots. Skin, body, eyes, head, and props. There are billions of potential combinations, so you to manage your assets.
You can see here, this is what the hub's going to look like. You have, of course, the wave one. This is the dash, the sets, Illuvium lines, affinities, classes, backgrounds, accessories, waves, tier 0, which are the free ones, I think. Yeah, you can kind of see how that looks like. I guess you get badges, you know, the different, what you've collected here.
Sets. Browse the marketplace and track your progress. Here, you will find the Illuvitars album, where you can gain points by placing your Illuvitars inside sleeves to complete collections and achieve milestones. Climb the leaderboard by stacking album points and rank up from bronze to diamond to earn exclusive borders.
So yeah, again, the leaderboard aspect to this, we've seen it with HRO, we've seen it with VB with the Master Collectors program, and you could expect this with Illuvium. So you can see the borders here, and you can have this as your profile on the actual in-game while you're playing, and battle it out with other, like, you know, other people. So again, you'll be able to battle each other, team fight tactic style, PvP eventually. And this could be like your profile picture, and you're just like, yeah, I got a dank collectible. That's kind of what that showcases.
Vitars. Unleash your competitive nature and don't miss out on the most eye-popping and addictive collection game of all time.
So that's what that looks like there. And then there's another video, just like how to, I guess, get them, I think it was.
Possibilities for collectors to explore and enjoy, with a vast range of unique in the top right-hand corner. Click to drop down a number of menu options, including sale pricing and availability will be different.
So yeah, I just showcased like how to buy one, and this video is what it looks like. You got to load your disc.
Sorted by most
Curious to see.
Acquired. Click continue, and an animation will play out for you.
Ooh,
assets
blind box ceremony.
your desk.
Will it show it? Oh, it will. That's cool. There's Mozart, the little guy. That's cool.
Reveal all to show everything at the same time, or you can select each asset individually. Accessories are on the right-hand side.
I like the bandana, I'm not gonna lie.
Guitars are on the left-hand side.
Ooh, I need an arcane. Any arcane Ember links.
You can see at a glance their Illuvitar power. Under each accessory, at a glance you can see their power boost multiplier, which is a percentage.
So as you can see, like if you're a big fan of games, you're a big fan of collecting, the rarity and the points are going to be very interesting, because in the macro NFT space, this is what people look for more rare stuff. So I could imagine that some of these are going to be worth a tremendous amount, especially these Genesis Illuvitars. It's going to be like owning a first edition like Charizard or something crazy.
Acquired. Go under your assets in your profile and click an Illuvitar. Here, you will get deeper information about that Illuvitar, including its power rating.
So I think we're actually streaming on the 10th, or I think it's the 10th or the 13th. We'll be streaming and doing the pack break. So be on the lookout for that.
The power rating of each Illuvitar can go over 9,000. No joke. Tar.
Over 9,000.
The appearance of the Illuvitar is...
We're going to skip some of this.
This one has a 2 for your Illuvitar bond button here, and you can click the plus button on any of these accessories. It all takes you to the same place. The album is an essential part of Illuvium Beyond.
This is what I'm interested in, the album part.
All of the Illuvitars they collect during their journey. The album is divided into different collections that give players something to aim for and a sense of accomplishment when completing a collection or a milestone. Players can earn points that increase their rank and allow them to compete with other collectors. Within the album are collections, and these are pages in the album with a specific...
Let me turn the volume up a little bit so you guys can hear it better.
...theme, and the game has over 100 collections to complete, giving you plenty of options and challenges. For example, Illuvial Line. This collection contains all of the Illuvitars in a particular line. The accessory line contains all of the accessories in a line, but first you must bond them to an Illuvitar. The background line with...
Isn't this crazy though? Like you have Illuvium, they have the main game mode, the overworld, where you go off and you catch Illuvials. Okay, so that's the game, right? You have PvP mode, player versus player, where you play against other people with your Illuvials that you catch or buy in the secondary market or whatever. And then you have like the survival mode, which is another mode that's like it's just like you versus the AI kind of thing. And then you have this. This is like you actually have the land game too. But then you have this. This is their collectible aspect of it. So this is the trajectory Illuvium's going. You see the long-term trajectory possibility here. Again, you look at a big brand and IP like Pokemon. They had a game. They had a show. They had a trading card game. What makes this interesting is you can't knock off these like Illuvium, like it's verified on chain, right? So this is going to be very interesting, long term.
In this collection, you have all of the backgrounds in a line, so you must hold an Illuvitar with those backgrounds. Affinity Line is a collection that groups Illuvitars based on their elemental affinities, such as water, nature, and fire. Class. This collection groups Illuvitars based on their roles in the game, such as fighter, bulwark, rogue, and sets. This collection groups Illuvitars based on the set they came from. Let's dive into this collection. Click to set on this atlas. Select the Illuvitar of your choice. Keep in mind though, the higher the Illuvitar power, the more sleeve points you'll receive. And notice how it added to my point total here. If you want to save time, click autofill. This will automatically you to... As you can see, I'm currently ranked player in the world. We know you want to know, and that's why we've designed the leaderboard. Here, you can see the top ranking rangers in the entire world, their most powerful collection, their top 5 Illuvitars, and their album points. Who's going to be number 1? It could be you. Remember,
could be you.
Your Illuvitars, accessories, and discs on the blockchain. They're yours. So you can buy, sell, trade, or save them as you see fit on the marketplace. Drop down.
All right, so that's the 411 on Illuvium. Pretty cool stuff, right? Definitely one of the premier games on Immutable X. You can see there. Yeah, I think this one has a long-term, really good potential in gaming. So very cool to see. Very cool to see. So, all right, well, that's all I got for this one. Unless you guys want to chat and chill for a minute. I'll be on, by the way, I am over on Paul Barron's channel, obviously, if you haven't known, if you don't know the news, over on Paul Barron's channel now. Possibly going to be on there this week. And I'm also streaming on Neo Tokyo. So Neo Tokyo is one of the major NFT collections in the wider NFT space that was kind of somewhat founded by Alex Becker and Elio Trades. And I'll be streaming on their Twitch weekly. And I just been playing like games over there, nothing too crazy. Probably long term we'll be playing a lot of the Web3 games in the space over there on Neo Tokyo's Twitch, like once a week. If you want to see more streams like me playing games, Web3 games, just comment in the chat below. We'll definitely be running some Illuvium streams. We'll be doing the pack breaks, and then long term when the game's fully launched, we'll be playing that probably here on the channel as well. So there's a lot of good games. Midnight Society is one we covered here just on the stream today. If you want to see more of that footage, or right now it's an alpha, it's super rudimentary. But long term, when it starts to look like a real game, I'll start streaming that. Just because, again, I find that Web3 games is going to be like the next catalyst, and kind of lead the charge in terms of crypto, Web3 adoption, that type of thing, right? I think it has the highest potential, a propensity to kind of lead the way in the NFT space. And I think that could be beneficial for platforms like Vivi for a lot of the things I said earlier here on the stream. Hashtag replay gang. Be sure to watch the stream and the replay if you're just tuning in. But yeah, love to stream sometime again this week or next week. Thank you for all the support. Be sure to check out the Twitter giveaways, and I'll see you guys next time. Be like an NFT, be authentic, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Endless possibilities